Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon or Ascendant. For the last 2 weeks of October, I hope you are well. Looking forward to Scorpio season, I have to say. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds deck for you today. Really quiet right up until I started recording. Anywho, so what do I have to tell you? I don't think I have anything to tell you today other than if you have not seen these videos before, slightly different to the main monthly readings. We're coming at it from a different perspective, in so much as we are looking for the lesson. I think there is wisdom, or indeed a lesson, contained within every experience and interaction that we have, if we are open to seeing it. And sometimes we're not, because we get bogged down with the day-to-day stuff and get stuck in our own heads with things. And so often, as an exercise in perspective, I find it really easy. It really makes things easier if we can kind of pull out of that just a little bit and see what the wider theatre at play. So to that end, what I would do is pull 3 cards for your current energy, and then we will pull 3 cards to find out why it is you are in that energy in the first place. Is it trying to teach you something about yourself? Is it trying to liberate you from a situation? Is it trying to bring something new in? We won't know until the cards hit the table, but that's the general gist. And then we'll close out with 3 cards of advice. I hope that makes sense. I think it should. So let's get you some cards. I have 3 cards for where Scorpio is right now, please. There's the first one. Let's check what it is in a second. Scorpio. So, oh, stunning. I love it. We have the Knight of Pentacles, Virgo energy there. We have the Ace of Cups in the middle. That's your ace. And one more for Scorpio, please. Where's Scorpio right now? 2 of Swords. Okay. We've got the 3 of Swords at the bottom of the deck, but I'm quite pleased to see we've got the High Priestess behind it there. It seems to me that, Scorpio, you've been doing so much work on yourself. The last few months have been absolutely extraordinary for you in terms of how you've started to really get your teeth into what it is that has kept you arguably in a dark place, right? Quite like dark place. And what I've seen with Scorpio in the last few months is an understanding that the darkness isn't something to be afraid of, right? And you kind of live there permanently anyway, so it's not a place that holds fear exactly, but more it is the light that frightens you, and more your own inner light, your own internal light. I know it's part of the Scorpio experience to have a lot of your life characterized by this card, but this is, to me, there's a really truly deep understanding of this, and possibly the purpose of this for you. And this is a huge breakthrough. This is a massive breakthrough, just in time for your birthday. How about that? Because the High Priestess, or this Piscean energy, she contains all of the wisdom, all of the knowledge. She knows it all. Deep within you, there is a deep knowing. Now, if you are the darkness, then Pisces is the light. And there seems to be a utilization of Piscean energy to understand this, to deconstruct this and know exactly what it's all about. So it isn't, to that end, then, just being able to identify the things that have wounded you and upset you over the years, the pain, the deep pain that you have felt. More, it is starting to see from a different angle the reason why you have experienced all of these things. Now, I've spoken about this before. We share this with you, Scorpio. No, it's not a new thing, but there was a point where I thought, literally the reason I existed was just to be some sort of misery sponge, right? I soaked up all of the bad experiences that were possible for a human to, experience around me, almost so that other people didn't. I had just decided that was probably what it was. And to that end, then things like happiness and contentment and inner peace were not things that were really available to me, because that was not the point of me, And I do think that perhaps my 8th house stellium had something to do with that. It's a very Scorpio kind of energy. Yeah. And then one day, while I was doing the washing up, like, something just pinged in my head, and it was something that somebody had said to me 6 months before, which I was not ready to hear at that point. But when I was doing the washing up, there it was. And it was the fact that all of those experiences that I had had, rather than being designed to crush me and make it so that this incarnation of me was filled with misery and horror, was actually more so that I could connect with people who were in that space. I could see what they were experiencing, I could see what they felt, and I could then perhaps start finding a way to help guide them out of it. And Scorpio, I feel like it's a very similar thing for you. Now, what we've got here with this Knight of Pentacles, it's not a sexy energy, the Knight of Pentacles, really. It's about hard work, it's about diligence. But I honestly feel like this is speaking of your hard work paying off, because it's coming up to the Ace of Cups here. Right? Now, the aces, and some readers say that they're so powerful that they need to be exalted, which is take them out of the reading and put them, at the top here. And everything else is read in light of this ace. Now, I don't actually personally do that. I want them in the reading and, doing things. But because they're an ace, they contain the full potential of, whatever suit they represent. And for you in this case, it's water. I've said it a few times over the last few months, but it's almost like that thing about you that you have possibly always despised, and you're thrown into your shadow, that ability to feel so deeply. And that is why you can keep everybody at arm's length, is actually your greatest blessing. Right? That is something that you can only really be a Scorpio and fully experience. Right? You've cracked something open within you, and you can feel it, and it does feel like a hard work paying off thing, because now you can look at this and there's a sense of purpose coming through for you now that possibly was entirely absent up until this point. You know what I mean? Now, whether it is that you work in some sort of spiritual modality, or you would like to, whatever, the ways that we influence people, don't have to be through sitting here and doing something that I do. Often it's just about living and being open to the experiences that come in, being open to the people that come in, right? And the way that you live your life, Scorpio, and the way that you experience life is incredibly important to the collective. Okay? You are absolutely critical to the Great Awakening, or whatever you want to call it. I think that's been rather hijacked by different factions. But the collective is awakening. It is doing something better. And like when you throw a pebble into a pond and the ripple effect that comes out, whatever you fix in yourself, you fix in the collective, in all ways that you could possibly consider that. So, we're talking about those very close relationships around you, those ones that are very important to you, but we're also talking about wider relationships. We're talking about friends, we're talking about work colleagues, but then we're talking on quite an esoteric level about the collective unconscious, and what the collective unconscious is capable of not only feeling, but processing. And I feel like this is going to be so critical in the next year, Scorpio. It's one of the reasons why I was so delighted when I saw you starting to turn a corner with something, turn around and face what was within you, because as one of the fixed signs, you are the foundation. You form, 1/4 of the foundation of everyone else, and you're doing your work. And things are changing, things are opening up, and like I said right at the beginning, that fear of your own light is starting to dissipate. Now, what is quite interesting is this Two of Swords here, and I'm going to break my own rule by just pulling an extra card, and it does speak about the need to make a decision about something. I find it interesting in the Pagan Otherworlds that we don't have a character here wielding these swords, you know, that she's got her arms crossed over her heart like this, and she's got these very heavy swords, and she's trying to make a decision between them, but the moon is at her back, the water is at her back, and she is blindfolded, right? She's not taking the time to consult these things behind her that would actually help inform her decision. And she's doing it somewhat deliberately, you know, with the blindfold. And is that not a really good way of describing, you know, the way that you have very consciously avoided those inner demons, those things that have kept you trapped, your own inner light powers, you know? I think so. But here we don't have a character. We've got a very, very calm sea. We've got a little sliver of the moon there, waxing crescent, something growing, right? A need to make a decision coming up here. And it is somewhat of an intellectual position, but with this white banner kind of, I don't even know when it's sort of draped on it there, you know, the colour of peace. There is a decision coming that you are going to need to make, and I think that you probably intuit it at this point. But it doesn't feel like it's giving you too much bother. Like it doesn't feel like it's really troubling you in that way. It's just a sense of something coming towards you that you know you're going to have to deal with soon. Up here, let me get some cards. Look at the nature of this. What is this? We have the hello Scorpio. There you are. We have the Death card, and we have the Queen of Swords. Interesting. Six of Wands at the bottom of the deck. That's Leo energy right there. The Queen of Swords is Libra. I think that you realise that it's going to be time for you to reveal who you are very soon, Scorpio. Like, just check this out. Both of these characters have implements in their hand. Death is holding a scythe. The Queen of Swords is holding, obviously, a sword. But Death is masked. And the Queen of Swords has taken off her mask and she's dropped it on the floor there. You know, she is showing her real face. She is showing who she is. Now, Death is a card of transformation. It's a shifting from one state into another. And I think that the changes that have been wrought within you are going to start being more apparent moving forwards. Now, it is possible that some of this may involve you, you know, excising particular relationships from, you know, from the theatre of your existence at this point, possibly. But you know, she isn't just taking off the mask, she's actually stood on stage. She is spotlit at this point now. So where Scorpio feels very much more comfortable in the shadows, in the dark places, right? And I get that, I understand it. Sometimes it is necessary for you to be seen. And that's an uncomfortable place for a Scorpio. I'm often comfortable with that. But it's coming, right? Now, whether there's a... No, there isn't. I was going to say whether there was a performative aspect to this, but no, there's absolutely no resonance with that at all. It's not performative. It is just, here I am. This is what I'm about. I'm going to step into the light. And there are lots of different ways that this could manifest itself. You know, you could literally be stood on stage. But whatever it is, the spotlight is on you, Scorpio. And whilst you may not be comfortable with it, look at the expression on the Queen of... I don't know if you can see it, on the Queen of Swords' face there. She looks a bit peeved about the fact that she's there, but she's doing it nonetheless. And she's not just standing there. She's like, oh, I'm here. I'm absolutely here. I'm not very fucking happy about the fact that I'm doing it, but I am here. So it's all about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, Scorpio. And I think you're ready. Like, I really do think that you're ready for it, you know, but look at this, you know, you've cracked something wide open, and now you are coming to a place where almost grudgingly you are going to have to be seen. But you will, because you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone toward the light. Let's see why you are in this energy. Stunning. So we have the King of Cups. We have the Scorpio card right there. One more please for Scorpio. Thank you. Oh, good Lord, I've got goosebumps everywhere. We have the Lover's card at the bottom of the deck. It's a card of Gemini in the Major Arcana. But it is, for me, a card of conscious co-creation. It is making a choice. Now, it is not a decision between doing this thing and this thing, although, you know, sometimes it could be. It's about stepping up and making the decision in the first place, right? That's where the conscious co-creation bit comes in, because you go, actually, do you know what I want from my life? I want this. And what I want, what I think that you really do want is peace and harmony, right? This is a card of union, but you get harmonious kind of aspects there. And it could be that this is to do with a person, but actually I feel this is so much bigger than that. You know, this isn't about one other person. It's speaking certainly energetically to what has shifted within you, but I think it's about the way that you are going to proactively start bringing things into your life that for whatever reason you've perhaps felt like you didn't deserve, or perhaps that you didn't trust because you thought that they were going to go wrong at some point, you know. Look at that. Underneath the Lover's card, we've got the Hermit and the Seven of Pentacles. Now, Seven of Pentacles, for me, indicates a situation that is in some way suboptimal, right? And with the Hermit card here, I think it's an understanding that where there are things outside of you that you are not comfortable with, they have their root internally, right? All of the answers are inside, never to be found outside, always inside. So where there is something not right, where is it a reflection of what's going on inside? But the card that you've got behind it is the World. It is an end to this situation being promulgates itself outside of you. You know, you're like, okay, this is shit. Why is this here? And you're sort of going within and interrogating. You know, this Hermit's always depicted as, well, not always, but mostly depicted as a wise old man, but he's got the light with him. You know, taking the light, which is a part of you, and interrogating the dark, interrogating that which you are not happy with outside, and then choosing what elements you are going to bring into your life moving forward. You want some fucking peace? You need to go find some peace. I mean, find in here first, and then fill your life with it outside of it. You want harmony? It's the same. You know, all of these things that for some reason you have never felt like you were able to have within you, they are opening themselves up as possibilities to you now, because you are opening up to the possibility of these to you now. And I said this was absolutely beautiful, and it is, because it's the Scorpio card, right? Who you are and the power that you contain will not be mitigated by this transition. Instead, I feel like it's a step up for you. It is, like the World card indicates, a graduation of sorts. It's the start of something new that can be, almost certainly, is going to be very exciting moving forwards. But I've said before, I always found it really, really odd that the King of Cups was Scorpio. Because of what it indicates, right? It is that openness to emotion, right? It is somebody who is so comfortable with their own emotions that they can just sit there in the fucking sea and just go, this is cool. I'm not going to get knocked off anything. And my experience with Scorpios is that there's always a raging torrent inside of them that they work very, very hard to keep everybody else away from, right? Even themselves away from that. Generally it goes and sits in the shadow. Like I said, this part of you that has always felt like a curse, you know. The shift in perspective is seeing it as a blessing now. And the reason that I thought it was odd was because, you know, Scorpios do not wear their hearts on their sleeve. They are not generally open to, you know, X, Y, and Z. And, you know, sad to report, in a lot of ways, Scorpios, certainly a lot of Scorpios, only manage to maintain a veneer of emotional stability because of how hard they lock down the things that have hurt them in the past, you know? And so I was like, how on earth does a King of Cups get to be Scorpio? And I puzzled over it for a long time until I considered the possibility that actually what was going on here was a progression towards that, right? So the King of Cups is Scorpio because Scorpio's path in this world is about achieving this. Getting to a place here where as a King of Cups, they do not need to worry about emotional situations because they know they've got this. It's fine. It's absolutely fine, you know? And there you are, sitting comfortably, having mastered these things that have troubled you for so long. We've got the Justice card here. Now, yes, it's a card of karma and it is a card of consequences. I have to add, there is a neutrality to that. I've had a few comments on a few of the videos in the last month or so from people going, when are other people going to get their karma? It's not fair. And it's like, you're not understanding how karma works if you are asking those questions. You are also focusing on the wrong thing if you are focusing on wanting to see other people punished. That isn't what karma is. It is not punishment. It is merely consequences. And there is a neutrality to that, because whether it's positive or negative consequences, that's a matter of perspective. It is merely that, neutral consequences of your actions that you have taken. So it is those things, but it's also about coming into a sense of balance and a sense of alignment. Getting to a point where Scorpio indicates emotional stability, emotional maturity, all of these things. I'm not saying that you've been emotionally immature, but there's been a lot of running away from those deep, dark wounds that you've carried around with you for a long time. You're shifting, entirely shifting, you know? And the Page of Pentacles is here. Now, I see the Pentacles as energetic currency, right? I've talked about this a lot. And so anything that you can invest, time, care, effort, money, love, all of these things become pentacles to me. And the pages are all about shifting direction somewhat, right? It's not carrying on in the same way. It's a starting point off to something new. All of the energy and effort that Scorpios have, for example, put into keeping people at arm's length, thinking ahead in a situation. You know, this is all going to go wrong. This person that I actually really care about is going to get hurt at some point down the road, so I'm going to cut it off now to protect them. All of these things. It takes a lot of effort. I've spoken before about how exhausting it has been to be in that state of hypervigilance, which Scorpios naturally are, right? Absolutely naturally are. And to be honest, with a lot of the experiences that you've had, with good fucking reason. But the time has passed now for you to be wearing that like some sort of hair shirt. You know, it's time for it to slough off. It's time for you to start garbing yourself in something that's a little bit more comfortable, something that doesn't irritate the skin quite so much. And so you are changing direction now, Scorpio. And perhaps it is that you are just not investing so much energy in keeping yourself closed down, locked down, guarded, you know, all of that sort of thing. And just allowing the emotional energy to flow in and out in the way that it's always meant to be. But it's definitely changing. And it's changing for the better. I have absolutely no doubt about that. Because if anything, Scorpio, you are becoming more powerful. When you stop disavowing that bit of you, you know, that bit of you that you've put into your shadow for all of this time, you haul that out and you allow that to be part of you too. You know, said before, like you've only been operating it, you know, maybe it's 30 or 40% of your actual operating power, your actual capacity. God help the fucking world. Hey, And called the last reading that I did for you for October overall is Scorpio 2.0, and I really do feel like the nature of what it is to be a Scorpio is changing on a collective level, almost to the point now where, you know, Scorpio, as it is, I mean, Scorpio has that 3 levels of evolution, right? From the scorpion to the eagle to the phoenix, right there, which is more than any other sign has. Perhaps it might be that we do have Scorpio split into 3 very distinct types of Scorpios on far more of a common level than currently exists at the moment. So, you know, you'll be, oh, it's that kind of Scorpio, or that kind of Scorpio, or that kind of Scorpio, you know, rather than you being all kind of hemmed in together as one type of sign, because you get a bad rap. And you get a bad rap because people don't understand you, because often people don't have the depth to understand you, and that's fucking annoying. Like and you deal with it. You just deal with it. But it's changing. Let's get you some cards of advice. Thank you. Oh, it is changing, Scorpio. As you change where it is that you put your effort, things are changing. Yeah. Interesting. Now, we've got the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck. I'm not generally a fan of the Hierophant particularly. It's Taurian energy. But it's somewhat softened by the fact that you've had the High Priestess too. You know, and the High Priestess is that ethereal, knowing energy, right? Very, very feminine. The Hierophant is quite a masculine energy there, but he's often doing the bidding of, you know, his God on earth, that sort of thing. The pair of them together indicate to me that not only are you becoming an open conduit, but that you have something to teach other people. And I think that the sooner you get comfortable with that, the better, really. Because we've got progression here. I mean, look at this. We've got the Ace of Pentacles followed by the King of Pentacles. So we've got you know, the reason why you are in this energy at the moment is preparing you for a change of direction, preparing you to go somewhere new. But we have evolution up to the King. So this is new opportunities. And, you know, if you want to take a really flat, literal interpretation of this, you know, new house, new job, some opportunity to improve your material circumstances in some way. But it can be so much more than that. It's the second ace that you've had as well, like, don't forget. I think of all of the aces, the Ace of Pentacles is the most tangible, right? This is quite ethereal energy, and it's something going on in here with you. Opens you up to possibilities in the emotional that a year ago, 2 years ago, you absolutely would not have even countenanced. But this is it made solid. Thank you. You know, I heard, like, you know, where attention goes, energy flows. And where you're not putting the attention into, you know, keeping this in perhaps more of a this, you know, sort of situation, where you can allow your emotional cup to run over. Water will always find its level. And I feel like wherever you go here, it's going to be your emotions that take you there. And that's something that you've struggled against for a very long time. You know, my emotions are not trustworthy. My emotions get me into trouble. My emotions are illogical and irrational. I'm just going to think about everything instead. I think it's changing. This King of Pentacles, again, is Taurian energy. And it's a combination that I love to see together. When something is changing, when new things are coming in, you want the king. And it's happened for you twice here. You want the king of that suit to be wielding whatever ace that is. Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, King of Cups, King of Pentacles. And you got the Nine of Swords in reverse. You don't have to worry. You know, that hypervigilance, that always thinking 6 moves ahead, it's not necessary for your for your path moving forwards. In fact, your path is now characterized by the lack of 9 of Swords energy, right? The overthinking, the anxiety about things. Like I said, they're like constantly thinking so many moves ahead. It's like being able to enjoy your life as it is without it having to be a chess game that you're playing against invisible opponents that you haven't even met yet or have just met. You know, like, where is this going to go? It's a relaxing into yourself and a relaxing into your existence, Scorpio. And it looks like the last 2 weeks of October are going to be the point where this is really starting to hit you now, right? And perhaps you're reacting differently to different situations, you know, in a way that you wouldn't have done a year ago. And maybe it is just the nature of the stuff that is coming towards you is of a different caliber. It's of a different flavor. Now, that's not by accident. That is by design. That is now, you know, the frequency that you are sitting on at this point. You know, it's a different kind of experience. I think it's wonderful. Okay, Scorpio, I'm desperate for a wee, so I'm going to leave it there. And I'll be back for the November readings before long. So know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.